Hello and welcome to the new channel where we can look at the goings on at Lowestoft Town Council. I've been really surprised by the number of really positive things that people have sent me privately and on various forums, and some of the forums are quite interesting. I've got thick skin, so the things said don't worry me at all. I did like the comment from Councillor Brooks that she doesn't trust men in white trousers. So I've gone purple and brown today. That's basically for Councillor Brooks, because clearly she didn't like the colour of my trousers. Sums it up really, doesn't it? Now, in view of some of the comments that I've received, I need to make this quite plain. Lowestoft Town Council are spending an awful lot of our taxpayer money. So they get given a load of money, they spend it, and they try and spend it on worthy projects. And as people don't seem to be aware of what's being talked about in the meetings, and they don't do much to publicise some of the things they do, or more accurately some of the things that they don't support, I figured that the public records could be used, cut down, never edited to make them say things that they didn't. You've got my word on that. I would never take a question from one councillor and add the answer from another councillor to that. That would be bad, and I don't ever do that. You're hearing what they say. Good or bad, I'm quite happy. If they come up with something really wonderful, I'll happily give it some promotion. But what really annoys me is that I'm spotting trends. Some of the meetings are very poorly attended. Some of them are hardly quorate. For those of you who don't understand how meetings work, it's set up right from the beginning that you need a minimum amount of people to be present at a meeting to make a decision. We often get with Lowestoft Town Council a bit of a conflict there, because you may have a poorly attended meeting and then a councillor might actually have to leave the room if they've got a personal interest or some other connection to a project. So if somebody was, let's say, chair of a committee on another non-council organisation that want a certain feature to be available for the town, it would be pretty unfair if that person was then a councillor and could vote it in. So quite sensibly, these sort of meetings, at the very beginning, they announce a few things, including like what happens if the fire alarm goes off, that sort of thing. And if they have got an interest, they're supposed to declare it. And then when it comes to making decisions, they're not supposed to join in. And as far as I can see, they do that. They recuse themselves from the meeting and they pop off out the door, and then someone goes and gets them back in when it's been decided. And I think that's fair and it's very democratic. Now, the snag is that sometimes the meetings are so poorly attended that if they were to go out of the room, the people in the room can't do a vote because there's not enough of them. So people get elected as councillors and then don't go to the meetings. Sometimes their full council is quite busy and a lot of people turn up. Other times it's not. Now, most people have got jobs. It's not practical for them to actually attend every meeting. But equally, they put themselves on various committees and then don't go. What we're left with is meetings monopolised by 2 members of the council. If there are 4 people there, 2 people will do all the talking. One person usually then tries to run the meeting, which makes it quite difficult to also contribute. Well, they try, but it is quite difficult for the chair to actually play a part in the meeting too, unless you're Andy Pearce, of course, who can chair the meeting and contribute his own stuff in his normal way. And he does it quite well. Unfortunately, he just tends to sort of rub everybody up the wrong way, and he's got a very loud voice. I think the person who deserves quite a lot of praise in Lowestoft Town Council is the mayor. She does a pretty good job from what I've seen. She tries to be balanced, she tries to be fair, and she tries to follow the rules. Unfortunately, she ends up being a bit like a ringmaster with Councillor Brooks and Pearce, but I think she does a pretty good job. Councillor Brooks, quite sadly, is a bit of a technophobe. At this meeting, they're all looking at spreadsheets. She's looking at the spreadsheet on her computer, which has a screen so big. On the wall is the spreadsheet on a much larger screen. But she uses her little computer in front of her, which she hasn't worked out can't display every single column in a spreadsheet. That's why they put it on the board. No. She thinks she's actually got a different version from everybody else. It never occurs to her that there could be some columns off the screen. Now, we've been using spreadsheets on home computers for a long time, and there's really no excuse for not being able to get yourself round a spreadsheet any longer. We're not talking about complicated stuff, but we are talking about council finances that have lots of columns and lots of rows, and she just can't do it. Watch this.
It's at the bottom on 21. Go down from line 21 and find it on line 26.
26, yeah, £500. Just to mention.
Oh, I got it. So it says maximum budget.
Yeah.
So in column J.
Mine doesn't say maximum budget.
Well, it says it in column J, Wendy.
Yes.
Councillor Brooks.
Column J.
Will bring your attention to
Yeah,
if you want to look.
Thank you.
So if you expand out the box, probably why if you expand out the box on the spreadsheet, that will then set, as you can see, maximum budget.
And on mine, it doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
So why have I got one that looks different to everybody else's?
Well, can you see column J on your laptop?
No.
Well,
I go from A to K.
Can I just
That's because it's compressed.
say from the chair, this is why I asked Christopher to put it up on here.
Yeah.
So she can't see it on her screen. One of the officials who understands IT says, do you want to have some training with me and I'll show you how to work your computer and a spreadsheet? She says no.
Well, why can't we have that? Why do we have? I mean, it's all. I mean, people are used to reading spreadsheets.
That's fair enough.
Councillor Brooks, would you like to take this offline and we can book a session together and possibly book an IT one-to-one session?
No, I would like this present. I'd like the information that we get to be presented better. So if something is paid, you can use, as Sonia says, one colour. And if it's not paid, you can use a different colour.
That's just a suggestion.
Look, can I just say, please do take it out, because if Wendy can only see A to K, it's because the columns in between are compressed, and that is about display on the laptop.
Yes, it is.
So can I suggest have that conversation, because I know what's happened, because I do work with spreadsheets,
Yes.
and if you do have a spreadsheet with a lot of columns, they will get compressed. So it's not a criticism of anyone, but have that conversation and then talk about improvements after that. But the clarification is there. But obviously, if only half a dozen columns can be displayed at a time on a laptop screen, some of them are going to be compressed and hidden.
Yeah.
Just finally, can I just say that this isn't confidential information, so members of the public are looking at it as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it needs to be explicit.
Which is why it says maximum budget.
Yeah, but
Look, when an item's paid, it's got a date in it.
yes, but what I'm saying is that this is a public document.
Yes.
A member of the public isn't going to come and have special training with Chris on how to read it.
No.
So when they see it, they will see what I see.
No, they won't. The member of the public is seeing that.
No, they're not, because I just went on the members thing and you can only see A to K.
On the members. Budget.
Yeah, Jay.
Well, what about on the broadcasting of the meeting?
This is what I
This is on the agenda on the Lowestoft Town website.
But what about now on the live streaming and
Yes.
recording? Can they see that?
They'll be able to see that from.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Well,
So-
as long as we make it.
But then the interesting thing was, they seem to be under the impression that the public, as in people like me, can see the spreadsheet that they're talking about, and we can't. If you actually look at East Suffolk Council's meetings, they actually control their meeting recording, and if they're talking about a document, like in planning or in finance, the document gets streamed. Well, Lowestoft have a bit of a struggle basically remembering to press the microphone buttons. So the chances of actually the public seeing what the councillors are seeing is a bit extreme. And I've never managed to find out where these documents are. They seem to be under the impression that we can see them, and I've never seen one. Perhaps I need to go and search it out. Maybe it's in a little hidden section somewhere. I don't know. But as far as I can see, we don't have access to all these documents that they think we do. Perhaps I need to investigate that.
Just shows you the breadth of events we are putting on or proposing. Councillor Pitts.
Well, I sort of belong to the same club as you, Sonia, really. Oh, yeah, I struggle with balance sheets.
No, I'm upfront
the-
about it.
I think I'd send invoices out and bits and pieces, and I just have an in-out column. So I'm just wondering if there is a way, maybe Chris can investigate.
Yeah.
Is there a way to produce something that's more public friendly?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that a
Yeah.
I can
Could I
ask
propose-
James, obviously,
Yeah.
James is the finance,
Jones, yeah.
James is
Yes.
the finance officer, so I don't want to
Yes.
corrupt any of his formulas or anything, so I'll
No.
maybe ask James, and then if there is a resolution that will make it user friendly for everybody, then
Yeah.
obviously
Could I
we'll
just propose that we look into?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll second that because like you, this is not my area of expertise, even though I can get there in the end. But, okay, can we have a vote on that then? For that to come back?
Just note new that this is a budget document.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
a budget document.
So-
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Yeah.
Now, as Councillor Pearce says, this is a budget document. And we've got a bunch of people who don't know how to read a spreadsheet. One of the councillors mentions he has money coming in and money coming out in his one. That's unbelievable. These people are in charge of vast amounts of our money. And they want a document that the public can read. Well, I'm pretty sure that most people who've just left school are pretty comfy with spreadsheets and could understand this one. They want them to dumb down the spreadsheet to make it simpler to read? Seriously? That's absolutely incredible. You know, I mean, I wonder what a council finance officer would say when they ask that question. How could you dumb down a spreadsheet? If it's got the information that everybody needs on it, the only real problem is the capability of the people reading it to understand it. And those are the people who are going to be putting their hand up and voting for spending our money. I mean, they'd be probably more comfy scribbling the sort of finance details on the back of a piece of paper. Unbelievable. And frankly, quite worrying. All this stuff is in the Events and Communications Subcommittee. And now they're going to move on to International Women's Day.
One abstention.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we look forward to the next instalment. Thank you. Right, so back to our timetable here. The 8th of March, that was the 2023 International Women's Day. This was just have a few review comments, wasn't it, about how it went
And what the next stage.
and what we could do
that-
next year. Yeah, thank you.
I was really disappointed. I thought it was, the people participating were very, very few. We didn't seem to have a focus, and I think that was part of the responsibility of this committee, because I suggested something, other people said, no, you can't have that, we can't focus on young women, so we ended up not really focusing on any women at all. And we ended up with a really, really poor response. I think we have to really rethink this if we're going to do it. The first year we produced, well, not we got a local person to make a really good film. A lot of work went into it. And last year, just for me, it was really, really disappointing, especially when you saw Excelsior's presentation for International Women's Day and Girl Wing, that were really impressive. And ours wasn't really. I don't know what you felt, Michael, but it just didn't really work. And I think that was very much down to us as a committee being a bit fluffy and vague about what we really wanted.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Councillor Pearce.
Well, yeah, I mean, all I would like to say, you know, it's easy to say people are fluffy and vague. It's less difficult, it's less easy to say what you would like instead. So,
I did say.
so on the same principle, and without revisiting anything that's already been decided, particularly, you know, around having the art category, which has been agreed. But in terms of focus, format, involving external people and potentially putting something together, I would say very similar to what we said to the previous event. Put the for the 2024 International Women's Day, put the item on the agenda, and if anybody has any specific ideas and proposals for what they would like to do in 2024, feed those in so they can be considered and approved. And that would be my suggestion.
Right, thank you. Councillor Brooks?
No, I'm not against that, but I felt very strongly that as a woman who cares very much about this event, I had very little say on it, and I was very conscious that it was a man who was organising the event, and I'm not criticising Michael for that at all, but I do think women need to have more of an input in International Women's Day.
Well, can I just say, as chair, Councillor Brooks, you're part of this committee, and therefore, if
No,
you,
but
if
when
you've
once
got-
we had decided, Sonia,
Yeah.
once we had vaguely decided what we were going to do, we then left it all up to Michael.
Well, I don't think it was vague. We looked,
It was.
we agreed a way forward. Well, all I can say is that for next year, if you've got some proposals, if you can bring a proposal to the next meeting with your ideas so that the committee can look at it, that's what I would suggest.
And there is normally a message for every year. There's a
Yeah,
different theme.
They
every year.
send it
They
out
send
in,
that out obviously closer to the time.
yes, which
it's
makes
not
it
difficult to plan.
exactly.
Find what
And
you want
obviously,
about
when
it.
it is considered, the number of women on this committee outnumber the number of men, so there
Yes.
will be a female input.
Yeah. Okay, well, if we just say that we will consider any ideas seriously, which is what we always do on this committee, and yeah, if there's an item or a way forward, if that's brought to the next committee, we can all consider it. And I don't think it's an issue. I guess it is. Yeah, there are more females on here than males, so to me, it's something that I've always been hugely interested in all my life. So I think all of us on here give weight to whatever comes our way on this committee. So I just await the information that we'll get.
Hang on, here we go.
Okay, Councillor Brooks.
Well, it wasn't very good. So we have to take that on, that it wasn't a success. We have to take that on. And I don't know if Michael can maybe shed some light on why he felt it didn't get the responses that.
Before Michael comments, could I just make a point of order? It wasn't a success as a personal opinion. It's not a council resolution. If you
No.
want a resolution on whether it was a success or not, I suggest you make one.
I'm making a comment,
Well, but that's exactly it. So
and I
it,
have submitted my comment.
so it wasn't a success is the personal opinion of one councillor.
Well, I think if you look at the number of participants,
Personal opinion.
well,
Can I just say,
if people are actually thinking last year was a tremendous success, I disagree with them very strongly.
Represent it at what it was. You are expressing opinion, which is fine, but don't express it as a resolution.
can
I
I?
didn't express it as a resolution.
You said it wasn't a success,
Well, it wasn't.
as if that's a statement of fact. It isn't. It's a statement of opinion.
Right, as chair, can I just ask Michael,
Yes.
have you got any data which explains or compares, say, this year's response to, say, last year's, and how how you felt it went? Because I think it's important to hear from yourself.
Yeah.
So the only sort of quantifiable data is the YouTube views.
Right.
And you have to sort of bear in mind that last year's
Yes.
has had an extra year on YouTube views. They're pretty similar. in
Right.
views. It's about
Okay.
30-40 difference. But that's with an extra year.
Right.
So without really sort of then going in and looking at when those views happened, I can't.
Yeah, you'd have to have each date. Yeah.
I know that, myself and Chris sort of did lots of contacting with various organisations, various people. A lot of them said, they were quite interested, but then just didn't submit anything. we extended the deadline a
Yeah.
little bit, you know,
Yeah.
internally, because I had said, you know, oh, I want a week leading to put everything together. And I sort of kept pushing that back from various people, just in the hope that,
Yeah.
well, I had, you know, at some point I had to say, if we put it out
That's
for
the cut off. Yeah.
do that. So, yeah, you know, we used a lot of our own personal contact as well. So,
Mhm.
yeah, on that, it would have been great to have lots of people, but then at the same time, when does it become too many to actually then have a succinct thing that you can put out?
Yeah.
If you've got 100 people and they're all doing a minute long video, you're then
Yeah.
looking at, you know, nearly an hour and a half
That's
long
a
video.
huge amount of work.
So, yeah, it's, well, maybe, you know, it's getting the balance. Maybe for next year we look at doing something different.
Yeah.
You know, we tried this. It's, you know, it's had this effect. We had the one video before, which is, you know, person's work looking at different facts. Maybe there's a blend we can do, or just something completely different, and we sort of look at that, sort of see what comes about.
So see what can be done. Okay, well, thanks for that. Councillor Pearce.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that the last 2 years have had in common is that we've left it too late to start. And even the previous year when we had the film, and Maria, who did the film, I mean, she literally did it. It was good, well, it was all her effort, but she literally did it the weekend before.
Well, I agree with everything you've just said. I'm just thinking that, as you just said as well, there are more ladies, women on the council now than men. Let's get some feedback from all the women on the council.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not being prescriptive about what we do. It's on the next meeting to consider that.
Yes.
I'm just saying that planning it, we need to start earlier than we have done in the last 2 years.
If Michael can add that to your leading to this event, that would be great.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
What we'll do is put in the council update this week.
Yes,
and
that's a
then
good
sort of
idea.
initial feedback from then, and then go from there, and then it sort of helps. Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good. Right, I'll second that. If we can have a vote. Thank you. That's everybody. Thank you. That's the way forward, isn't it?
Because we all know that women have got far better brains than men anyhow.
Well, I got there in the end. Apologies, I had to do an edit in the middle because it went on forever and it was just mind-blowingly dull and not very constructive, but very difficult to sort of take out because people would constantly refer to bits and pieces. But I don't think it affected the flow of what was said. They got to an end. International Women's Day, yep, sorted. Vote, yep, done. The end comment about ladies' brains. I'll leave you to think about the committee members present. Take care. See you on the next one.